Grounded.
Sorry, what?
Terrestrial missions only.
Whose protocol is this?
Your mother's.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel just released the first look at the Marvels movie. We already know some of what's going on in the movie, what's going on with the villains, how it connects with Avengers 5, Kang Dynasty, so we'll break it all down. If you're new to the channel, we're still doing a giveaway for Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania IMAX tickets. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and post all your predictions for how you want all the Marvel's characters to fit into Kang Dynasty. Pretty much anybody who's ever been in a Marvel movie is going to be somewhere in Kang Dynasty in Avengers 6 Secret Wars. And that also includes all the Fox Marvel movies and all the other connected Marvel movies at Sony, like the Spider-Man movies, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, everybody. Because Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania just came out, I won't include spoilers for that movie, but some of the stuff from the trailer does connect with references and artifacts we know are going to be in the Marvels movie, so I will talk about that stuff, but I don't really consider that a spoiler. This is what the characters are going to look like. Marvel released this and announced that the movie's going to be released in November, pushing it a couple months. Originally, it was going to be July. This is just the main three. We already know about some of the villains, but Monica Rambeau, for instance, will wear this suit. She's going to be going by her Photon name from the comics, according to the writers. You can see she's got an upgraded, more comic book accurate version of her white and black suit. She's still going to be working for S.W.O.R.D. at the beginning of the movie for Nick Fury on his S.W.O.R.D. space station. They're calling it the Peak. That's just what they call the actual space station in the comics. That's basically what they teased in the Wandavision post-credit scene for her character, where the Skrulls came to take her to Nick Fury on the space station. If it wasn't clear what's going on with the actual space station, because they haven't really talked about that, they didn't really get into it too much during WandaVision either, they just teased it briefly at the end of the series. It's meant to be a vastly upgraded version of Marvel's spaceship from the 90s that had been left hidden in Earth's orbit, just cloaked from sensors. Nick Fury and the good Skrulls, not the bad ones that we're going to see during Secret Invasion, which is meant to take place before the events of the Marvels movie. He and Talos, the good Skrulls, built a bigger space station starting with Marvel's original space station, her ship. We only saw a small portion of it in the Spider-Man Far From Home post-credit scene. It seems like an eon ago that we saw that. It's been 84 years since we saw that space station. And he's been working with the Skrulls since the 90s to construct it as a means of defense in case the Kree ever returned in force like they threatened at the end of the first Captain Marvel movie, like you would expect S.W.O.R.D. to do from the comics. They're meant to defend Earth from space-based threats, whereas S.H.I.E.L.D. is worried more about terrestrial threats from planet Earth. Just to address everything that happened in WandaVision with S.W.O.R.D. going off the rails with Tyler Hayward, it sounds like everything he did trying to reactivate Vision, gaslighting Scarlet Witch, messing with her powers, that was him going rogue against Nick Fury's orders, since Nick Fury is still technically running the show from the space station. If you couldn't tell, zoom and enhance, Captain Marvel is wearing the exact same suit she was wearing in the Miss Marvel post-credit scene, but Kamala Khan has a totally new suit. This one is a little bit shinier, has way more red in it, but it's the same basic design language as her previous suit. Like, it's a shinier, nicer version of her previous suit. Because her last suit was meant to be homemade. It was kind of like Spider-Man's first suit, totally homemade. Speaking of Spider-Man, Kevin Feige said that her vibe in the movie is a bit like Spider-Man during Captain America Civil War, like the new young buck who's there to help out, but isn't quite sure of their powers yet. They also confirmed that our Miss Marvel post-credit scene theories were true. What happened here is that Miss Marvel's bangle gives her the ability to switch places with people, and she literally just swapped places in the universe with Captain Marvel. So what's happening here is that actual Carol Danvers' Captain Marvel is standing in Kamala Khan's bedroom, confused. She's about to go downstairs, and there are going to be some very confused parents in a second, too. Before she tries to fly back to Kree Skrull space, where Kamala Khan is now, also just as confused as to why she's on an alien planet all of a sudden. Monica Rambeau is meant to start the movie still working on the S.W.O.R.D. space station. She's just been working there ever since the end of WandaVision, trying to figure out how her photon powers work and going on missions for Nick Fury. They're changing her a little bit from the comics just to make sure she doesn't get too OP. Her powers are basically the ability to absorb and redirect any kind of energy. There was another time in the comics where she also was able to become pure energy. So that just gives you an idea for how her powers scale. Like, they could just keep getting more and more powerful the more she understands how whatever energy she's working with works. There's a couple of qualifiers that the comics have to keep her from getting too powerful, but there are a couple times in the comics where she has gotten super powerful. For instance, because she can absorb any kind of energy, she could theoretically absorb Infinity Stone energy and redirect it. The problem is that in order to do that, she'd have to understand how the energy works, and Infinity Stone energy is just so complex that almost nobody understands it. which is how they keep her from becoming like the most powerful character in the entire universe. The whole thing with the Bangles in the movie is that they're going to explain what happened to the second Bangle. Remember, during Miss Marvel, they explained there were supposed to be two. Kamala's great-grandmother's race, the Jinn, spoke about two in that Ten Rings temple. There were so many theories about this and connections to Shang-Chi's 10 Rings of Power because they're worn kind of like bangles around their arms. But during the Marvels movie, the main villain is supposed to be Dar Ben, who's a character from the comics who's just meant to be one of the leaders of the Kree Empire. I think as part of this whole idea that the Kree hate Captain Marvel, they're supposed to explain that they believe that she killed the Supreme Intelligence, and there is no Supreme Intelligence during the events of the movie. It's just Dar Ben leading their people orchestrating this plot. She's played by Zawe Ashton, who's actually married to Tom Hiddleston in real life, so small Loki series connection there. She's going to be using the second Bangle during the movie and needs both of them to power a weapon she's using, so she's trying to take Kamala Khan's Bangle to get the other. Which I think is meant to soft confirm the theory that the bands are actually based on the Kree Nega Bands from the comics, which were kind of like Green Lantern rings. They turn thought into energy and you can create constructs with them. Which kind of explains the way Miss Marvel creates constructs. She's also meant to be a mutant, so she has powers on top of that. That's like a whole separate thing, though. Her being a mutant has nothing to do with the powers of the Bangles. And just like you see the swapping in the Miss Marvel post-credit scene, during the movie that's going to be a big thing, where Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, Kamala Khan are trying to stop Dar Ben, the Kree, from using their weapon, and Kamala's powers and her band keep causing the three of them to constantly switch places. And it just causes a bunch of chaos for the three of them until they figure it out and use it to win their boss fights. They will explain why Monica Rambeau had such a beef with Captain Marvel during Wandavision, and it's pretty much a confirmation of all of our theories at the time. It's mostly because Monica believes that she never returned to see her mother while her mother was dying of cancer. Remember, Monica Rambeau got snapped, so she missed her mother's death. Her mother did not get snapped, and she's supposed to be Carol Danvers' best friend. I believe during the movie they will explain that Captain Marvel did actually come to visit Maria Rambeau while she was dying, though. Remember, the 838 universe version that we saw, who became a version of Captain Marvel, is actually meant to be an Easter egg for the comics when Monica Rambeau actually became the first female Captain Marvel. The whole idea in the comics is that for the longest time, for a very long time, Carol Danvers was called Miss Marvel, and it wasn't till the last 10, 15 years or so that she started calling herself Captain Marvel. Monica Rambeau started going by the name Captain Marvel back in 1982 in an Amazing Spider-Man issue, of all places. The real big Annihilus Easter egg is that the Kree have been referring to Captain Marvel as the Annihilator. Annihilus is like one of the biggest space-based villains that Marvel hasn't done yet, who people mostly remember from the Annihilation. That was a huge Infinity War level crossover event where everyone fought Annihilus. He's meant to be a villain from the Negative Zone, which is an antimatter universe that they featured in the 2015 Fantastic Four movie. Annihilus is a character from the Fantastic Four comics. I think them using the Annihilator title in the movie is their way of teasing that they'll eventually do Annihilus either in Marvel Phase 6 or after Secret Wars at some point. I believe the person who wrote that last Fantastic Four movie where they went to the Negative Zone said that they actually were going to do Annihilus during the movie and a version of Galactus, but the whole movie wound up getting changed, like they changed the entire end of the film. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, they're rebooting everything now, so it doesn't matter. Matt Shakman, who directed on WandaVision, is actually going to be directing the Fantastic Four movie. We'll probably find out who's going to be playing some of the characters before the end of the year, because they actually start shooting it early next year around this time. The other big connection between the Marvels movie and Avengers Kang Dynasty are the Incursions and the Time Runs Out storyline. They're supposed to have an actual incursion during the movie, like finally show us an incursion while it's happening on screen. We've only heard characters talk about it up to this point, like Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four in the 838 universe, or Clea at the end of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Basically, what happens during an incursion is because you're talking about parallel universes, different versions of planets, Earth, for instance, just coexist within a similar space and start to collide with each other, and it happens for all matter in both universes. So like planets, suns, everything colliding with each other until they destroy each other. During Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, when Kang is explaining incursions to Janet Van Dyne, his animated 3D model of the multiverse timelines shows a bunch of them popping, basically, and overlapping. That's them showing you what it looks like when an incursion happens from outside the timelines. It'd be like watching incursions from the TVA. During the Marvel movies, we'll watch a version of that happen, and I believe Monica Rambeau is going to help them stop it from happening using her powers. Like, the whole idea is that another universe is about to destroy the main 616 Marvel universe, and she helps to stop it, but gets trapped in whatever that other universe winds up being. They didn't say what it's going to be. Hopefully she gets stuck in like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man universe or Andrew Garfield's universe. You get to see her looking for help. Hello, Peter number 2, Peter number 3, are you out there? Are you available to help? I'll do more videos for the movie when we get more footage, we learn more details. I think we're going to get the first trailer when Guardians of the Galaxy 3 hits theaters. I'm still finishing a giant Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania full breakdown and Easter eggs for the entire movie. That'll post on Saturday. Make sure you enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that, and see the movie if you haven't seen it yet. Everyone click here for my Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania post-credit scenes video. There are 2 of them. And click here for my new Flash trailer with so many Batman Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.